Have you ever been ghosted? You thought things were going great, but suddenly she disappears without a trace, leaving you hanging, questioning what went wrong. Or maybe she plays hot and cold. One day she's all over you, the next day radio silence. It's maddening, isn't it? Let me be brutally honest with you. Women are playing games, and if you don't recognize these games and know how to deal with them, you'll be stuck in an endless loop of frustration, confusion, and heartbreak. But here's the kicker. It's not your fault that these games exist, but it is your responsibility to outsmart them. Today, I'm going to give you 10 bulletproof strategies to outsmart any woman playing games with your heart. And no, I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm talking about mastering yourself through Stoicism. You will become the calm in the storm, the unshakable man who women can't control. So buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride that will change the way you handle relationships forever. Before we dive into the 10 ways to outsmart women, let's get one thing straight. Why do women play these games? Why do they ghost you, breadcrumb you, or keep you in emotional limbo? The truth is, women use these games to test your emotional strength. They're checking whether they can control you, manipulate you, and make you doubt yourself. And if they succeed, you're done. You've lost. They'll lose respect for you, and you'll be left chasing after them, desperate for validation. But here's the good news. You don't have to play along. Instead of being a puppet in her emotional roller coaster, you're going to become the master of your own emotions. Through Stoicism, you will learn how to remain calm, collected, and in control, no matter what game she tries to pull. This isn't just about winning with women, it's about taking control of your life. It's about refusing to be emotionally manipulated and standing tall as a man who knows his worth. So, if you're tired of being played, if you're done with the emotional games, and you're ready to take your power back, stay tuned. These 10 Stoic strategies are going to change your life. Number 1. Detach emotionally. The first strategy is the foundation of all the others. Detach emotionally. Detachment doesn't mean that you don't care. It means that you're no longer controlled by your emotions. You are no longer reactive. Most guys freak out when a woman pulls away or starts acting cold. They become anxious, start overthinking, and try to fix the situation. But here's the truth. Women are testing you. They want to see how easily you crumble under pressure. And when you chase after them, desperate for their attention, you fail the test. Instead, you need to remain emotionally detached. Whether she's texting you every 5 minutes or ghosting you for a week, your emotional state needs to stay the same. You are calm. You are centered. You are not swayed by her games. The more you practice emotional detachment, the more attractive you become. Women are drawn to men who can remain composed in any situation because it shows strength. And strength, my friend, is what makes you irresistible. Number 2. Recognize behavioral patterns. Women are creatures of habit, and trust me, once you start paying attention, you'll notice patterns in their behavior that you didn't see before. Why is this important? Because patterns reveal intent. And once you see the pattern, the game becomes predictable. And when something is predictable, you can easily outsmart it. Let's break this down. One of the most common patterns you'll see is hot and cold behavior. One day, she's texting you non-stop, saying how amazing you are, hinting at future plans together. The next day, nothing. Crickets. She's suddenly busy, distant, or acting like she doesn't care. It's maddening, right? This is the classic push-pull strategy. Women do this to see if they can get you to chase. If you fall for it and start blowing up her phone asking, "Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong?" You're playing right into her hands. Here's what you need to do. Recognize that this is a test of your emotional control. She wants to see if she can get a reaction out of you. Most guys fail this test because they panic and chase harder. But you're not most guys. You're going to stay calm, composed, and let her come to you. When you don't react to her hot and cold behavior, you flip the script. Suddenly, she's the one chasing you, wondering why you didn't fall for her game. And let me be clear, this behavior isn't always malicious. Sometimes women do it subconsciously, testing your confidence without even realizing it. But whether it's intentional or not, the result is the same. You need to stay emotionally grounded and unshakable. Another pattern to watch for is the breadcrumbing technique. This is when she gives you just enough attention to keep you interested, but never fully commits. You might get a flirty text here and there, or she'll agree to hang out sometime. But when it comes time to make real plans, she's nowhere to be found. This is a game designed to keep you on the hook, investing your time and energy without getting any real commitment in return. How do you handle breadcrumbing? Easy. You call it out without anger and without emotional investment. You say something like, "Look, I'm not here for half-hearted attention. If you're not interested in spending time together, that's fine, but I'm not going to wait around for you. You're not angry, you're not emotional, and most importantly, you're not chasing." By doing this, you make it clear that you have standards and you're not willing to settle for less than you deserve. Number 3. Set boundaries early. Let's get one thing straight: if you don't set boundaries from the start, she will. And when she does, they're usually on her terms. Terms that serve her comfort, her control, her rhythm. That's how the game begins. Not because she's evil, not because she's manipulative, but because people naturally test limits. That's human nature, especially in dating. But here's the truth. A woman doesn't respect a man who has no edge, no line, no backbone. And you can't wait until things get messy to suddenly try and set rules. It's too late by then. She's already learned how to push you, how far she can pull, and what you'll tolerate when you're scared to lose her. You want to outsmart the games? Draw the line early. Not by being aggressive, not by lecturing, just by showing through your actions what you allow and what you walk away from. Say she's always canceling plans last minute. Don't argue, don't guilt trip, just stop initiating. Say she talks to you like you're replaceable. Don't get emotional, just reduce access. Say she starts playing hot and cold. Don't chase, don't try to decode it. Let her feel your absence. Setting boundaries isn't about control. It's about clarity. It's about telling the world without shouting, "This is what I'm available for, and this is what I'm not." You're not punishing her. You're not teaching lessons. You're just honoring your standards. That's where respect starts. Because listen, if you let things slide in the beginning, disrespect, flakiness, emotional games, you're training her on how to treat you, whether you realize it or not. The Stoics had a name for this: proersis, your moral compass, your ability to choose how you respond, no matter what someone else does. And when you set boundaries early, you're exercising that compass with strength, not from ego, from peace. Now here's where most guys mess up. They confuse boundaries with ultimatums. They get reactive instead of consistent. They blow up when they've had enough, but they never calmly set the tone from the start. And then they wonder why she doesn't take them seriously. Don't be that guy. Instead, let your behavior do the talking. When you meet someone new, show up clear. If you value communication, say it, but more importantly, model it. If you don't tolerate disrespect, show it by removing yourself when it happens. Not everything needs a confrontation. Sometimes the strongest boundary is simply your absence. Because here's what happens when you lead with clear standards. She either levels up to meet you, or she fades out. And either way, you win. Because now you're not reacting to games, you're filtering them out. And trust me, the right woman won't be offended by your boundaries. She'll be relieved by them. Because deep down, every high-value woman wants to know that the man she's with is grounded, that he won't bend over backward just to keep her around, that he has the courage to walk away from what doesn't serve him. That kind of man, that's rare. And rare is irresistible. So let this be your shift. No more people pleasing. No more, I'll let this slide just this once. No more silent resentment while you pretend it's all good. You're not here to be agreeable. You're here to be respected. That starts with boundaries. Set early, held firmly, lived out daily. Comment below, I want this. And stay close, because in part 4, we're talking about how to stay calm when she starts testing you. And trust me, she will. But when you know how to respond, the whole dynamic flips. Number 4, stay calm under pressure. Pressure will come, always. Especially when you're dealing with someone who's used to getting reactions from men. She'll say something sharp. She'll bring up her ex. She'll flirt with someone in front of you, just to see how you'll respond. It's a test, and most guys fail. They react, they defend, they get emotional. They try to win back approval, explain themselves, or argue to regain ground. But here's the truth she'll never tell you. She's not testing you to break you. She's testing you to see if you're solid. If you break under pressure, she can't trust you with her emotions. If you explode, sulk, or beg, you show her you're not in control of yourself, and that means you'll never be able to lead anything between the two of you. So what do you do instead? You stay calm, not passive, not cold, calm. That kind of energy, that's rare, that's power. It tells her, without a word, that you're not afraid of chaos, that you don't need her approval in every moment, that no matter how loud the world gets her, how unpredictable she gets, you stay grounded. This is the core of Stoicism. Epictetus said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you stay calm under pressure, you're not suppressing your feelings. You're just choosing to lead with strength, not reaction. Let's break it down. Say she throws a jab at you during a conversation. Something like, "You're not as confident as I thought." Most guys would instantly try to prove they are, defend, explain, chase validation. You pose, you smile, maybe say nothing, maybe just change the subject, or calmly say, maybe not, and keep it moving. That small moment sends a huge message. You don't rattle me, and that creates a shift. She starts to feel something she didn't expect: respect, curiosity, even attraction, because you just showed her that you're different. Now, this doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. If she crosses a real line, you remove yourself. But even that, you do it with calm. You don't throw a tantrum. You don't post passive-aggressive stories. You leave the situation like a man who has other things to do, and you do. That's what pressure reveals. Not who you are when things are easy. Who you are when the heat is on. Can you hold eye contact when she's challenging you? Can you laugh when she tries to make you jealous? Can you stay still when she expects you to chase? That stillness, that centeredness, that's where your power lives. Because here's the twist. When you don't react the way most men do, she doesn't know what to do next. You break her script. You disrupt her pattern. You stop the game. And she starts to see you differently. Not just as a guy she's dating, but as a man she can't figure out, can't control, and can't forget. That's the moment when the energy flips. You stop being the one reacting to her world. She starts reacting to yours. And it all begins with calm. So remember, pressure isn't the enemy. It's the opportunity to show her without saying it that you are unshakable, that your peace is not negotiable, that your emotions aren't available to be toyed with. That's sexy. That's rare. That's stoic. Comment below, I've felt that. In part 5, we're flipping the focus. You'll see why long-term vision, not short-term reaction, is your next weapon. This isn't about this week. This is about the man you're becoming. Don't miss it. Number 5, focus on long-term goals. Let me ask you something real. What's the bigger picture for you? I'm not talking about tomorrow, not about next week. I mean the real reason you wake up in the morning, the thing you're building, shaping, and chasing when no one's watching. Because here's what too many men get wrong. They treat relationships like a finish line, like if she stays, if she texts back, if she picks you, then you've won. But that mindset is exactly how you lose. The moment she becomes the center of your focus, you start orbiting around her. Every decision bends to keep her close. Every emotion gets tied to her reactions. And without realizing it, you've made her your mission and abandoned your own. That's when the imbalance starts. That's when she senses the shift and pulls back. Not because she's cruel, but because deep down, no woman wants to carry the weight of being your purpose. She wants to join your purpose, not be it. This is where Stoicism cuts through the noise. A Stoic man doesn't drift with emotion. He moves with direction. He doesn't need approval to act. He acts because his path demands it. So while other guys obsess over mixed signals and read too much into a short reply, you're locked in, you're moving, you're building something that matters. Something that doesn't pause every time someone tests your patience or ghosts your message. And that energy, it's different, it's felt. You stop chasing, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're genuinely too focused on what you're becoming. This shift changes everything. Suddenly you're not reacting, you're filtering. You're not proving your worth, you're expressing it by how you move, how you show up, how you keep growing without needing her to see it. And if she sees that, if she feels that, she'll feel the pull. Because the man who doesn't need attention becomes the one who naturally attracts it. But here's what most men never figure out. This isn't a tactic. It only works if it's real. If your long-term goals are truly non-negotiable, they'll become your foundation. And that foundation won't just carry you through relationships, it'll carry you through life. So the next time she tests you, disappears, or sends you spinning with mixed signals, don't spiral. Anchor, recalibrate, and get back to what actually matters. That's the difference between reacting like a boy and rising like a man. Comment below, I needed this. And listen what comes next. It's not about tricks. It's not about control. It's something deeper, something quieter, something that flips the dynamic without saying a word. You'll see. Number 6. Avoid emotional retaliation. Let's be honest, when someone messes with your feelings, the first impulse is to strike back, to match their energy, to make them feel what they made you feel. She ghosts you, you go cold. She flirts with other guys, you do the same. She throws a jab, you fire one right back. Feels good in the moment, right? Like you're reclaiming power, like you're showing her you're not to be messed with. But here's the truth no one tells you. Emotional retaliation doesn't make you stronger, it makes you look weak. Because the moment you let someone else's actions control your behavior, you've already lost. You're not in power, you're not grounded, you're reacting. You're playing her game by her rules. That's not stoic, that's not masculine. That's emotional instability wearing a mask of toughness, and she sees right through it. A high-value man doesn't need to match chaos with chaos. He doesn't need to punish, prove, or play petty games. He just doesn't participate. Not because he's soft, but because he's centered. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about understanding it, owning it, and not letting it drive the wheel. So when she says something that stings, when she tries to make you jealous, when she disappears just to see how you'll respond, you breathe. You remember, your reaction is your responsibility. You don't post something to get a rise out of her. You don't flirt with someone just to even the score. You don't show up emotionally drunk trying to prove you're unbothered. You stay composed. And that composure, it's power. Not loud, not flashy real power. The kind that makes her wonder why she can't shake you, why her usual tricks don't land, why you're not flinching like the rest. It's not that you don't feel. You're human. You're not made of stone. But you've trained yourself not to let feelings hijack your self-respect. Because the truth is, emotional retaliation is just delayed begging. You're still looking for validation. You're just disguising it as revenge. And that's not who you want to be. So, what do you do instead? You let her actions speak for themselves. You process how you feel on your own time, not on display. You double down on what you're building instead of who you're trying to impress. Because the moment you step out of the emotional ping-pong match, you take your power back. You stop reacting and start selecting who gets your energy. And something interesting happens. She notices, not right away, not dramatically, but over time the silence grows heavy, the absence becomes loud. The fact that you didn't flinch, that stays with her. Because you've done something rare. You've shown her you're not reactive, you're intentional. You're not playing games, you're protecting your peace. That's the kind of energy people don't forget. So don't fall for the bait. Every emotional jab, every hot and cold game, every passive-aggressive move, it's bait. And the more calmly you walk past it, the more control you keep. You don't fight fire with fire. You let fire burn itself out while you keep walking. Comment below, I've been there. And make sure you're here for the next part. Because what comes after this, it's not louder, it's quieter, more powerful, more unexpected. You'll want to hear it. Number 7. Communicate clearly and firmly. Let's clear something up. Being silent isn't the same as being strong. Sure, silence has its place. But too many men confuse shutting down with holding frame. And that's not strength, that's avoidance. That's fear wearing the mask of indifference. A high-value man knows when to stay quiet, but he also knows when to speak, and when he does, he speaks with clarity and calm authority. Because if you can't articulate your boundaries, your needs, or your standards, she's going to fill in the blanks. And when she fills them in, it usually doesn't work in your favor. This is where clear and firm communication becomes your real leverage. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to convince her of anything. You just need to speak from a place of certainty. Not ego, not emotion, just truth. Let's say she starts showing inconsistent behavior. One minute she's all in, the next she's distant. Most guys either panic or over-accommodate. They start explaining themselves, asking for reassurance, or backing down just to keep her happy. That's not clarity. That's confusion in disguise. What you should say is simple. I value consistency. If that's not something you're looking for, that's okay, but I don't waste energy on guesswork. No drama, no accusations, just facts. Or maybe she crosses a boundary. Maybe she flirts with someone else in front of you, trying to provoke a reaction. You don't sulk. You don't lash out. You pull her aside and say, that kind of thing doesn't work for me. If that's how you operate, we're not aligned. That's it. It's not a threat. It's not a plea. It's information. You're letting her know how you move and giving her the choice to match that energy or not. And here's the key. You follow through. Clear communication means nothing if it's not backed by action. If you say you won't tolerate certain behavior and then stay when it happens again, your words become noise. Your clarity becomes confusion. Your firmness turns into bluff. So speak with precision, then act with integrity. This isn't about being rigid, it's about being solid. You're not shutting her down, you're inviting her into alignment. You're showing her what life looks like with a man who knows what he wants and doesn't negotiate with chaos. You'll be shocked how magnetic that is. Because when most men speak, they filter themselves. They worry how it'll land. They overthink. They walk on eggshells, trying to preserve the vibe. But when you drop all that and just say the thing calmly, directly, respectfully, you stand out. You feel different. You become the one person in her life who doesn't twist his words to earn approval. And that makes you unforgettable. Clarity breeds confidence. And confidence, when it's quiet and grounded, is impossible to fake. So stop overthinking your tone. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop softening every word so you don't sound too assertive. If something matters to you, say it. If a boundary gets crossed, name it. If a situation doesn't sit right, address it. Not to control her, to honor you. That's what Stoicism looks like in practice. Not silence, not detachment, self-command. And when you master that, your communication becomes more than just words. It becomes a signal, a frequency only people with real self-respect can hear. Comment below. I'm learning this. Stick around because after this, things shift. What comes next is subtle but powerful. It's where words fall away and presence does the talking. You're going to feel it. Number 8. Prioritize your own well-being. There's a moment every man faces when he has to decide, her peace or mine. And if you've ever bent over backward to avoid upsetting her, if you've ignored your gut just to keep the vibe good, if you've stayed in situations that drained you just because walking away felt uncomfortable, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You lose yourself, slowly, quietly, piece by piece. And she feels it. Not just your silence, not just your resentment. She feels your energy shift. You go from being a man she was drawn to a man who's shrinking himself to fit into whatever space she makes for you. That's not love. That's self-abandonment. But here's the truth. You are not responsible for her emotional weather. You are responsible for your inner climate. And until you understand that, until you take your own well-being seriously, you will always chase validation instead of protecting your peace. So let's get this straight. Your mental health, your clarity, your stability, your growth, they come first. Always. Not in a selfish way, not in a me over everyone kind of way, but in a foundational way. Because when you're good, everything around you improves. When you're drained, nothing thrives. Women respect men who take care of themselves, men who don't over-explain their need for space, men who set limits not to punish, but to protect their energy. Men who walk away when something consistently chips away at their peace, even if it looks good from the outside. This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You don't need her to agree with your decision. You don't need her to understand it right away. You just need to recognize when something's no longer good for you and act accordingly. That's what prioritizing your well-being actually looks like. It means you stop chasing her attention when she's being passive-aggressive. You stop explaining yourself when she's twisting your words. You stop pouring energy into dead conversations hoping she'll suddenly reciprocate. Instead, you check in with yourself. Is this making me feel secure or anxious? Am I expanding in this relationship or constantly adjusting? Does my body feel relaxed or always slightly on edge? And based on those answers, you move. Not emotionally, not reactively, intentionally. Because she can love you and still not be right for you. She can be attractive and still unhealthy for your growth. And walking away from that doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. You're not here to fix people. You're not here to prove your worth. You're here to grow, to build, to stay rooted in who you are, regardless of how she shows up. And funny enough, when you prioritize your own well-being, when you stop making her the center of every emotional decision, she starts to look at you differently. You're not predictable. You're not reactive. You're centered. And that energy shifts the dynamic completely. Because now she knows that if she wants access to your time, your attention, your space, it has to be earned, maintained, matched, not demanded. That's the power of self-prioritization. It's not about being selfish. It's about being selective. And when you do it right, it's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's steady, quiet, unapologetic, the kind of presence that doesn't need to justify itself to anyone. So if something's messing with your peace lately, stop negotiating with it. Don't wait for it to change. Don't hope it gets easier. Decide. Because when you make your well-being the priority, everything else becomes clearer. Who belongs in your life? What deserves your energy? And what doesn't make the cut anymore? Comment below. I've felt that. And if you think that hit hard, just wait. The next shift doesn't come from what you say or what you do. It comes from how you choose to hold yourself when nothing needs to be explained. You'll see what I mean. Number 9. Practice patience. In a world obsessed with instant results, patience is a forgotten strength. We're wired to want it now. Now she replies, now she changes, now she commits. And when it doesn't happen fast enough, we spiral, we double text, we overthink, we chase. Not because we're weak, but because we've been taught that waiting equals losing. But here's the twist. When it comes to emotional dynamics, the man who waits wisely wins. Because the truth is, most emotional games burn themselves out if you let them. They only survive if you feed them. And you feed them by reacting too soon, by demanding clarity, by trying to force closure. Patience isn't about being passive. It's about being centered enough to observe and choose when to act. Let's say she suddenly pulls back. She was into you yesterday and now she's cold. Your first instinct? Try to fix it. Ask what's wrong. Reignite the vibe. But a Stoic man does something else. He watches. He gives space. He lets the silence settle. Because he understands that some women test you not with their words but with their withdrawal. They want to know, can you sit in uncertainty without falling apart? That's the real test. And when you pass it, when you don't flinch, when you don't chase, when you don't emotionally collapse, it changes everything. Because patience signals strength. It says, I'm not moved by short-term emotion. I'm here on my terms. And that creates a tension she can't ignore. She's used to men reacting instantly, reacting emotionally. So when you don't just surprise her, you make her feel something deeper. A quiet pull, a curiosity, a sense that you're not like the rest. Patience is what breaks the pattern. But here's the catch. Patience only works when it's rooted in self-worth, not strategy. If you're waiting just to manipulate the outcome, she'll feel that. If you're staying quiet just to trigger her response, it's still about her. And that means you're still not free. Real patience says, I can let this play out without needing to control it. And that's attractive because it shows maturity, discipline, power. It also shows that you have something most people don't: a long view. Most men date with a short fuse. They expect instant chemistry, instant security, instant payoff. But you're different. You're in this for alignment. You're watching the way she moves over time. You're not looking for spark, you're looking for sustainability. And because you're not rushing the process, you're also not easily manipulated by it. She delays a response, you're fine. She tries to make you jealous, you stay composed. She pulls back, you stay the course. Not because you don't care, but because you care more about your peace than you do about forcing a connection. And when you carry that energy, people feel it. Women feel it. They sense that you're grounded, that you're in no hurry, that your life is already full, and anyone who joins it better come correct. That's when the chase reverses. That's when your patience becomes power. The Stoics didn't rush. They didn't beg the world to cooperate. They understood nature takes its course and that control is often an illusion. The only real control is over yourself, and patience is proof of that control. So next time you're tempted to react, to push, to chase resolution, don't. Breathe, wait, observe. Let the situation reveal itself. Because when you stop trying to force clarity, you start to see things as they really are. And that's when you know what to do next. Comment below. I've learned that the hard way. And tomorrow, that final piece of this entire puzzle, it's the one that holds all the others together. Don't miss it. Number 10. Choose when to walk away. There comes a moment where you have to ask yourself, am I holding on out of strength or out of fear? And most men avoid that question. They stay because of history, because of potential, because they don't want to feel like they've wasted time. They convince themselves that walking away is quitting, that giving her another chance is what a real man would do. But here's the truth. Knowing when to walk away is one of the highest forms of masculine discipline, because it's not about anger. It's not about ego. It's not about proving anything. It's about knowing what aligns with your values, your peace, your direction, and what doesn't. And when you feel that misalignment deep in your gut, when your spirit feels heavy, your energy feels drained, and your clarity starts fading, you have a choice. Not an emotional one, a conscious one. To keep looping in cycles of disrespect, confusion, and emotional games, or to step away not with noise, not with drama, but with certainty. See, the strongest walkaway isn't explosive. It's quiet, it's composed, it's final. And that silence, that's what hits different. Because when a man who once gave her attention, time, and energy suddenly withdraws it with no bitterness, no negotiation, she feels it. She might not show it. She might pretend she doesn't care. But she does. Because she knows. This isn't about a tantrum. It's about standards. Now, this doesn't mean you leave the first time things get hard. Growth requires patience, forgiveness, and communication. But when the same pattern keeps repeating, when the connection starts costing you more than it gives you, owe it to yourself to act. To stop hoping she'll change. To stop managing her emotional temperature. To stop shrinking your needs just to maintain the vibe. And to choose you. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. A Stoic man doesn't cling. He doesn't beg. He doesn't barter with peace. He understands that sometimes the most powerful move is to say nothing and walk. Because what you tolerate teaches people how to treat you. So when you walk, you're not just ending something, you're resetting your standard. You're sending a message to yourself that your time, energy, and heart are too valuable to be mishandled. And long term, that builds a kind of confidence you can't fake. You start carrying yourself differently. You stop fearing loss. You stop chasing what isn't choosing you. And that shift makes you more magnetic than anything else. Because the man who can walk away is the man who never has to. Women sense it. They feel it in your tone, in your eyes, in your posture. That unspoken, I will never force what's not flowing energy. It's rare, it's real, and it only comes from experience. You earn it by staying too long in the wrong places. By learning what it feels like to overextend yourself for someone who never meets you halfway. By walking away once and realizing you survived. Better yet, you grew. So don't be afraid of the exit. Be afraid of abandoning yourself while trying to hold something broken together. You don't need a dramatic final word. You don't need closure from her. All you need is your decision and the discipline to follow it through. And when you walk with calm, with class, and with clarity, you don't just leave, you ascend. You become untouchable in the best way, not because you're detached, but because you finally understand your worth doesn't live in someone else's validation. It lives in your ability to choose peace over chaos, truth over comfort, growth over fear. And when you walk with that energy, you never really lose anything. You just make room for everything better. No need to hold on now. You're already free. If you've made it to this point, you already know you're not the same man you were when this video started. Because this wasn't just about women. It wasn't about games. It was about you reclaiming your power, one decision at a time. You're not here to chase. You're not here to react. You're here to lead, to choose, to build a life so solid, no one can shake it. And if this message spoke to something inside you, don't just let it pass, lock it in. Subscribe to the channel right now. We're building a space for men who think deeper, move wiser, and live on their terms. And if you're serious about leveling up mentally, emotionally, spiritually, join the Stoic Brotherhood. Inside, you'll find exclusive content, tools, and training designed to help you grow stronger from the inside out. No fluff, no noise, just clarity, direction, and brotherhood. Thanks for watching. Protect your peace, lead with strength, and I'll see you tomorrow.